Today, I want to take you on a journey not through the roads we know, but through corridors of history that remain cloaked in mystery. Across the world, there are places that defy explanation, tombs that remain sealed for thousands of years, burial sites that vanish without a trace, ancient caves that stretch for miles, carved by hands we cannot name, and even bones that stir the imagination with tales of giants. These aren't just stories from dusty textbooks. These are puzzles that challenge us, reminding us how little we really know about our past, and how much is still waiting, hidden beneath our feet. So, settle in. Whether you're walking, driving, or relaxing at home, let's explore together 4 of history's greatest unsolved mysteries: the untouched tomb of China's first emperor, the vanishing burial site of Genghis Khan, the strange tale of giant remains in France, and the breathtaking Longyou Caves of China. And as we move through each, I'll invite you not just to hear the facts, but to reflect, to wonder, and to ask yourself, what do these mysteries tell us about humanity, about ambition, about our endless quest for meaning? Let's begin. The untouched tomb of China's first emperor. Picture this. It's over 2,000 years ago, around 210 BCE, and China is a land of warring states, chaos, and shifting power. But into this turmoil rises a figure who will forever change the course of history: Qin Shi Huang, the man who unites China under one rule. Now, Qin Shi Huang was no ordinary ruler. He was a visionary, but also a man obsessed with immortality. He unified scripts, built roads, standardized weights and measures, and of course, he began construction of the early Great Wall. His achievements were colossal, but so was his fear of death. And so, he began work on a tomb. No, not just a tomb, a city of the dead, an empire built underground. Fast forward to 1974, when farmers digging a well in Xi'an stumbled upon what we now know as the Terracotta Army. Thousands of life-sized clay soldiers, each unique, with different faces, hairstyles, even clothing details. Horses, chariots, generals, archers, all frozen in time, arranged in battle formations, as if still guarding their emperor. But here's the thing. That's just the surface. Archaeologists believe the soldiers are merely the outer guardians. The real tomb of Qin Shi Huang lies beneath a massive mound nearby, untouched. And why untouched? Because of what the ancient records say. The historian Sima Qian, writing in the 1st century BCE, tells us that the tomb is a replica of the cosmos itself. Rivers of flowing mercury were crafted to mimic the great rivers of China. The ceiling was embedded with jewels to represent stars, and the emperor lay at the center, ruling eternally. Now, here's where it gets fascinating. Modern scientists have tested the soil around the tomb, and guess what? They found unusually high levels of mercury. Could it be that Sima Qian wasn't exaggerating? Could there really be rivers of toxic mercury still flowing underground, preserved for millennia? The Chinese government has decided not to excavate for now. The technology we have today might destroy what's inside. Imagine opening a sealed chamber after 2,000 years and watching the artifacts crumble into dust from exposure. Imagine triggering chemical reactions with the mercury. There's also cultural respect involved. Disturbing the resting place of the first emperor is not taken lightly. And so, Qin Shi Huang sleeps on, his secrets intact. When I think about this, I'm reminded of something profound. Sometimes the greatest lesson of history is patience. Not everything is meant to be uncovered right away. Perhaps we're not ready yet. Perhaps some mysteries need to wait until the right time, the right tools, and the right wisdom arrive. But doesn't that stir your curiosity? What if, one day, we finally open that tomb? What will we find? A treasure trove that redefines our understanding of ancient China, or a chilling warning about human obsession with immortality? The vanishing burial site of Genghis Khan. Now let's shift landscapes from the valleys of China to the sweeping, endless steppe of Mongolia. Here, in the 13th century, rose another titan of history, Genghis Khan. Genghis was no ordinary leader. He was born Temujin, raised in hardship, left to survive after his father was poisoned. But through brilliance, resilience, and sheer force of will, he united the Mongol tribes. From there, his empire expanded across Asia and into Europe, becoming the largest contiguous land empire the world has ever seen. And yet, despite all his fame, all his conquests, his burial site remains a mystery. According to legend, when Genghis Khan died in 1227, his loyal followers went to extraordinary lengths to keep his final resting place secret. Some accounts say that every witness to the funeral procession was killed to preserve the location. Others claim forests were planted, rivers diverted, entire landscapes altered to erase the trail. Think about that. A man whose name shook the world, who commanded armies that stretched from Korea to Hungary, and yet he disappears into the earth without a trace. Archaeologists and explorers have searched for centuries. Theories point to the Henti Mountains in Mongolia, near his birthplace. Others suggest hidden valleys, unmarked graves, or even elaborate false trails created by his followers. In recent decades, satellite imagery, ground-penetrating radar, and expeditions have all tried to solve the riddle, but still nothing conclusive. Now, some Mongolians believe it's better this way, that disturbing Genghis Khan's tomb would bring misfortune. Others argue that the secrecy itself is part of his legend. Perhaps the greatest symbol of his power is that even in death, he cannot be found. And maybe that's the lesson here. While we, in the modern world, are obsessed with discovery and exposure, sometimes the power of a mystery lies in its silence. Maybe Genghis Khan's hidden grave isn't just about what we don't know, it's about what we're not supposed to know. Still, I can't help but imagine, what if, one day, the tomb is found? What artifacts might lie within? Letters, weapons, maps? Could we learn more about the empire that shaped half the world? Or would opening it feel like breaking a sacred pact between the living and the dead? The alleged ancient giant of France. Now let's move to Europe, France, to be specific, and a story that sounds like it belongs more in myth than in history. In the late 19th century, reports began to surface of strange discoveries in the small town of Castelnau. A professor named Georges Vacher de la Pouge claimed that during excavations he found enormous human bones so large, he estimated the individual would have stood over 11 feet tall. 11 feet! That's nearly twice the height of an average person today. Imagine a man towering over two basketball players stacked together. The bones became known as the Giant of Castelnau. They sparked debates, newspaper articles, and speculation. Were these truly the remains of a giant? Or simply a case of exaggerated measurement? Or perhaps misidentified animal bones? To this day, the bones themselves have disappeared, and no conclusive evidence remains. Most scientists lean towards skepticism, suggesting misinterpretation. But the legend refuses to die. Why? Because tales of giants are universal. From the Nephilim in the Bible, to the Titans of Greek mythology, to the Jotnar of Norse sagas, cultures everywhere seem to remember giants. Even in Africa, Asia, and the Americas, oral traditions speak of enormous beings who once walked the earth. So, what do we make of this? Were these myths just metaphors? Stories meant to explain natural phenomena or human struggles? Or could they be cultural echoes of something real, perhaps encounters with unusually tall individuals, or even misinterpreted fossils of prehistoric animals? What inspires me about the story of the French giant isn't whether it's literally true or not. It's that humanity has always looked for beings larger than life. Giants symbolize strength, fear, and the unknown. They remind us of our fascination with what lies beyond the ordinary. And maybe, just maybe, they remind us of our own potential. After all, don't we all, in some way, aspire to be giants in our own lives? To leave a mark so big that people remember us for generations? The Longyou Caves of China. Finally, let's return to China, but this time to Zhejiang province, in the east. Here lies one of the greatest archaeological enigmas of all time, the Longyou Caves. In 1992, a local villager decided to drain a pond. To his surprise, the water revealed the entrance to a massive man-made cave. Soon, more were discovered, dozens of enormous caverns, each carved with precision into solid sandstone. These caves are huge, tens of thousands of square meters. The walls are smooth, covered with uniform chisel marks, as if carved deliberately for some unknown purpose. There are columns, chambers, even features that suggest architectural planning, and yet no historical records mention them. None. In a culture like China's, where dynasties recorded everything from the rise of emperors to the movements of stars, there is complete silence about the Longyou Caves. Who built them? Why? And how could such massive labor leave no trace in the written record? Some theories suggest they were quarries, but the scale and finish seem too deliberate. Others think they might have been secret storage sites, ceremonial halls, or even underground palaces. But without records, we can only guess. What fascinates me most is this. Standing inside the Longyou Caves, you feel both awe and humility. Awe at the skill and determination it must have taken to carve them, Humility at realizing that entire chapters of human history remain invisible to us, erased or forgotten. And maybe that's the lesson the Longyou Caves whisper, that history is not complete, that what we think we know is just a fragment, and that there are still wonders waiting to be uncovered, perhaps even in our own lifetimes. So, my friends, what have we learned on this journey? From the sealed tomb of Qin Shi Huang, we learn patience, the wisdom of waiting until we are ready. From the hidden grave of Genghis Khan, we learn respect, that some mysteries are sacred. From the story of the French giant, we learn imagination, the power of myth to inspire us. And from the Longyou Caves, we learn humility, the reminder that history is far larger than the chapters we've read. Together, these mysteries teach us that the past is not just behind us. It lives with us, shaping our curiosity, inspiring our creativity, and humbling us with the reminder that we are part of something much bigger. And maybe that's the greatest mystery of all, that in searching for answers in the stones and soils of yesterday, what we're really searching for is ourselves. So the next time you hear about an ancient tomb, or a legend of giants, or a hidden cave, don't dismiss it as just a story. See it as an invitation to wonder, to question, to dream, because history isn't finished. It's waiting for us.